Ashley Blankenship with InBroadcast. Joining me is Keith Larsen from AJA Video Systems. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. Could you describe your company's focus a little bit for us?
Yeah, the company started in 1993. A guy named John App founded it. Still runs it. It's a family-run business. There's no public trading or anything like that. So, which is a nice thing as an employee. I really like the family cohesiveness of the thing. But he started with mini converters. The idea was, we need to convert this signal to this signal. How can we do it? And he would build these little boxes to do this job, and they became insanely popular and started selling like wildfire. And from there, it just started to, manifest itself in other things like cards that you could put in a computer to get baseband video into a nonlinear editing system. Or, FireWire came out, so they made some FireWire in-out products. And then from there, it evolved into recorders, field recorders to take out with cameras. Back 5, 6, 7 years ago, cameras were recording in less than desirable codecs with heavy compression and low bit rates and things like that. So we made these field recorders that would record in ProRes at 10-bit, 422 color space. So you had a lot of latitude in post if you're compositing or color correcting. And then people would come up and say, "Well, you do so great with these camera backs. Why don't you just make the camera?" And sure enough, we did that. So that's where we're at.
Well, what's the latest with the Scion 4K camera?
Scion is the biggest enigma of all time, I think, in AJA history. Never has there been a product surrounded in more mystery and intrigue. Every show I do, people just want to talk about this camera. They read things online, and what I'm getting a lot lately is, I read a lot of things online that say that it's not very good, but then I see these images, and then they're amazing. So they want to see the camera for themselves or try it for themselves. And it's starting to finally catch on. I think people are finally realizing how to use the camera. I think the way it functions is different from just about everything else. And once you wrap your head around it, it's like shooting a 16 millimeter reversal film. So you kind of tend to underexpose to preserve your highlights. And then you can bring all this dynamic range out of the blacks without introducing any noise. That's the whole philosophy behind the construction of the camera. And people who have used it and figured that out absolutely love it.
So is there any other products that are coming out in the near future? Anything you want to share with us?
Well, I'm not allowed to tell you what's in the pipeline, but I can tell you.
Ask.
Well, of course. And they don't even tell us.
Right.
We like to do the Apple thing where the field force and the sales force don't really know what's coming until we have a session about a week before the public finds out.
Right.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun for us too, because we like to guess what we're doing. But I will tell you, we hired a guy out of Telestream 2 years ago to kind of take us into the streaming and video over IP area. And we're going to go heavily into that. We're charging that way. We introduced 2 mini converters at Infocom and 2 more at IBC that are based around HD-based-T technology. So for people watching who don't really know what that is, the basic idea is you can take your baseband video signal from either SDI or HDMI, put it into our little box, and then take an Ethernet cable, Cat 5, Cat 6, or 7, and go either 1080 or 4K, basically the length of a football field. The distances vary based on your raster and your color space, but to sum it all up, you can and then on the other end, unzip it to SDI or HDMI using our mini converter to a monitor. So basically, they could have a monitor right all the way across the building watching this happen right now live through an Ethernet cable.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going into stuff like that. We have an onboard H.265 real-time encoder card now for Linux and Windows. So you can put it in the computer, shoot your video signal in, and it'll do real-time H.265 compression, then you can stream it out at the same time. And you could also just use file-based. It doesn't have to be baseband. You can do stuff on your computer, real-time compression, send it out. So we're going heavy into that area.
Yeah.
It's a very cool place to go.
A lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks for
us.
having
Hope
me.
you have a great show.
You too.
I'm Ashley Blankenship with InBroadcast.